It was supposed to be another easy night in Hollywood. Bright lights, laughter, polished smiles. Jimmy Kimmel Live had seen hundreds of stars walk across that stage, but none quite like Sylvester Stallone. When the curtain opened and that familiar theme hit, the crowd exploded. People stood, clapping for the man who defined action for an entire generation. Stallone walked out with his trademark grin, calm, collected, every bit the legend. But look closer. Behind that grin, something wasn't right. His eyes scanned the crowd, then Kimmel. There was tension, faint, but real. You could feel it even through the camera lens. Kimmel began with charm. Small talk about fitness, nostalgia, and old movie roles. The audience laughed on cue. But then, it shifted. Kimmel poked at Stallone's age, a harmless jab at first. Do you ever wake up and realize Rambo's collecting a pension now? The crowd roared. Stallone smiled, but the smile didn't reach his eyes. A flicker of irritation crossed his face. He leaned back in his chair, jaw tight. The host chuckled, sensing the discomfort, and tried to lighten it. But in that moment, something had cracked. The camera cut to a close-up of Stallone, his expression no longer for show. There was pride in those eyes. Decades of hard work, fighting for respect in an industry that often saw him as a caricature. And right then, the tone changed. The laughter felt forced. The audience sensed it too. That thin line between humor and humiliation had just been crossed. In the control room, producers exchanged uneasy glances. The director whispered, stay wide, don't zoom in." But Jimmy didn't stop. He doubled down, pushing the joke further, tapping into something personal. Something that wasn't supposed to be said on live TV. The crowd went silent. Stallone's face hardened. His hands clasped together. He stared straight at Kimmel, not blinking. The tension was unbearable, a storm brewing behind calm eyes, and that's when it happened. The moment that turned a late-night comedy bit into one of the most shocking and walkouts in modern television history, because Jimmy Kimmel was about to cross a line that Sylvester Stallone would never forgive. Every talk show has its rhythm. Joke, laugh, applause. But this night, something snapped. You could hear it in the silence between words. Jimmy Kimmel leaned forward, a smile still plastered on, and asked the question that no one in that studio will ever forget. He said, "You've built your whole image on toughness, right? The fighter, the survivor. But in real life, who are you fighting now, Sly? The industry or your own relevance?" The audience laughed briefly, then stopped. It wasn't funny. It was personal, cruel, the kind of line that leaves a scar. Stallone froze. No smirk, no comeback. Just a long, steady stare. You could almost hear his heartbeat through the microphone. Then, slowly, he leaned closer, eyes locked on Jimmy. "You think being relevant means being loud, huh? Try lasting 50 years in this business without becoming someone else's joke." The crowd gasped, a mix of cheers and awkward laughter. Jimmy tried to recover, his usual sarcasm faltering. "Hey, come on, Sly. We're just having fun here." But it was too late. The energy had changed. The smile on Kimmel's face looked nervous now, forced. He shifted in his chair, realizing he might have gone too far. In the control room, panic. The producers waved frantically at him to pivot. Change the subject. Go to commercial. Anything. But Jimmy didn't. He doubled down. "Relax. You've had your comebacks. Maybe there's another Rocky in you, or maybe not." The audience reacted with a low, uneasy murmur. Stallone sat back, nodding slowly. "You know," he said, "guys like you make careers out of mocking what they can't do themselves." Right there, for the first time, Kimmel's trademark smirk disappeared. A single second of silence. Then applause broke out, scattered, confused. That was the moment everything shifted. The cameras kept rolling, but the control was gone. This wasn't a talk show anymore. It was a duel. And when Stallone leaned forward again, gripping the edge of the desk, the audience braced for what came next. Because what he said next made Jimmy Kimmel's smile vanish for good. For a moment, no one breathed. Stallone leaned in, eyes locked on Kimmel, and said the words that would echo across every screen in America. You can joke about my movies, my age, my career, but don't ever question the fight that got me here. You didn't bleed for it. I did. Gasps rippled through the studio. Kimmel's smirk faltered. He glanced toward the audience, searching for a laugh that never came. Then silence. The kind of silence that makes time stretch. Even the band froze. Jimmy tried to spin it back into comedy, chuckling nervously. Come on, Sly, you're scaring me. You're not going to hit me, are you? The crowd half laughed, unsure if they should. But Stallone wasn't smiling. He stood up, slowly, deliberately. The mic caught the sound of his chair scraping the floor. That sound, metal on tile, sent a chill through every person in that studio. Kimmel raised his hands, pretending to diffuse the tension. Hey, I'm just playing, man. But Stallone didn't speak. He adjusted his jacket, looked out toward the audience, then back at Jimmy. His voice was quiet, but deadly clear. You went too far. We stepped away from the desk. The cameras struggled to follow. The director shouted, "Cut too wide! Cut too wide!" But it was too late. The audience gasped as Stallone walked off stage live. It's unedited on national television. Kimmel tried to laugh it off. Okay, well, I guess Rambo just declared war on late night. The joke died instantly. No one laughed. Not one person. Producers flooded the stage during the commercial break. Panic. PR managers whispering, agents calling. The footage was already being clipped and shared online. Within minutes, hashtags exploded. #Stallone walks out by midnight. The internet had turned into a battlefield. Fans defending Stallone, critics defending Kimmel. But what the cameras didn't show was what happened behind that. Staged because the real confrontation, the one that would change everything, hadn't even started yet. For a few seconds after Stallone's words hit the air, the studio froze. No laughter, no applause, just an uneasy silence hanging between two men who suddenly weren't entertainers anymore. They were opponents. Kimmel blinked, unsure how to recover. The grin that had carried him through thousands of interviews started to falter. Hey, come on, Sly, he muttered, forcing a laugh that sounded more like a plea. We're just having a little fun, right? But Stallone didn't answer. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees, staring right through Kimmel. Every second felt longer than the last. The audience shifted in their seats, the tension thick enough to taste. Then Stallone stood up. The movement was slow, deliberate. The chair screeched as it dragged across the floor. That sound, sharp and metallic, cut straight through the silence. Where are you going? Kimmel asked, voice cracking slightly. Stallone straightened his jacket, eyes fixed on him. You crossed a line, Jimmy. You made it personal. Kimmel forced another laugh, looking toward the audience. Uh-oh, I guess Rambo's going rogue again. But no one laughed this time. Even the band fell silent. Stallone turned to the audience, nodded once, and started walking toward the edge of the stage. Cameras scrambled to follow him. The director's voice crackled in the control room. Stay on him. Don't cut. But it was chaos. As Stallone disappeared behind the curtain, a stunned hush fell over the studio. Kimmel tried to speak, but his voice wavered. Well, folks, I think we've just witnessed a moment. No one clapped. No one smiled. Backstage, producers rushed to commercial, cutting the feed mid-sentence. Phones were already buzzing, social media lighting up like wildfire. Within minutes, the clip hit Twitter, Instagram, every entertainment blog in the country. #Stallone walks out started trending instantly. Some called him unprofessional. Others called him a legend, standing up for himself. And as the world debated what they'd just seen, the cameras stopped, but the drama didn't. Because behind those closed studio doors, Stallone wasn't finished talking. And what happened next would never be aired on television. The studio hallway buzzed with chaos. Crew members whispered, phones rang, producers darted in every direction trying to contain what had just happened. The sound of Stallone's footsteps echoed down the corridor, slow, heavy, unshaken. He wasn't running from the moment. He was walking through it, A young assistant hurried after him, headset dangling. "Mr. Stallone, please. Jimmy didn't mean it that way." He stopped, turned slightly, his voice low but sharp. "Respect isn't a joke. You invite someone on your show, you show them dignity. That's not too much to ask." Down the hall, the senior producer caught up, trying to defuse the situation before it exploded online. "Sly, listen. We'll edit the bit, we'll smooth it out. It'll look fine." Stallone shook his head. "You can't edit disrespect." Inside Kimmel's dressing room, the atmosphere was no calmer. Jimmy sat on the couch, face pale, staring at the floor. His writers and producers circled like anxious ghosts. One of them muttered, "It's everywhere already, TMZ, Twitter, Reddit. It's blowing up." Kimmel rubbed his face, frustrated. "It was just a question. He's too sensitive." The room fell silent. Everyone knew it wasn't just a question. It was a hit below the belt. Meanwhile, in the hallway, a crew member held up a phone. "Someone filmed it," she whispered. "Backstage? You can hear him calling out the show." The clip hit social media minutes later. The video was grainy, shaky, but clear enough. Stallone's voice carried through the chaos. "You treat guests like props. Not tonight." That single sentence exploded across the internet. Millions watched within hours. Hashtags multiplied. Hashtag respect Sly. Hashtag late night drama. Hashtag Kimmel v. Stallone. For the first time in years, the late night hierarchy felt shaken. Fans began questioning what was real and what was staged. Commentators called it a wake-up call for Hollywood's fake civility. But the story wasn't over. Because just as networks began drafting statements, a new audio clip surfaced, not from Stallone's camp, but from inside Kimmel's team, a muffled voice. Unmistakably Jimmy saying he still thinks he's relevant. "These old action guys can't handle a joke." That one sentence changed everything. And by morning, the internet wasn't defending Kimmel anymore. It was demanding answers. By sunrise, Hollywood was split right down the middle. News anchors, bloggers, and talk show hosts all dissected the same 15 seconds of leaked audio. The words were unmistakable. Jimmy Kimmel, frustrated and unfiltered, saying he still thinks he's relevant. "These old action guys can't handle a joke." Those words spread faster than wildfire. The clip hit every major outlet by noon. Headlines read, "Kimmel disrespects Stallone off-air." "Hollywood legend humiliated," and late-night backlash begins. Comment sections turned into battlefields. Half defended Jimmy's freedom to joke, the other half said Stallone had every right to walk. Behind closed doors, Kimmel's team went into damage control. Publicists drafted statements, PR managers rehearsed apologies. But the tone online had shifted. Viewers weren't laughing anymore, they were angry. The man who built his brand on making fun of celebrities was now being accused of something worse: arrogance. For 3 days, Stallone stayed completely silent. No interviews, no comments, no posts. Just silence until a short, unedited video appeared on his official page. He sat in a dimly lit room. No makeup, no crew. "Just him and the camera? In this business?" he said quietly. "They'll laugh with you when you're on top and at you when you're not. But respect isn't seasonal. You either have it or you don't." That was it. 30 seconds. No anger, no drama. Just raw honesty. The clip went viral instantly. Tens of millions watched, shared, and quoted it. Major figures from across the industry started weighing in. Actors, directors, even rival hosts, many sided with Stallone. Kimmel finally issued a public apology that evening, calling his comments a lapse in judgment. Sponsors pulled back, and the network quietly scrubbed the full episode from its archives by the week's end. The conversation had moved beyond two men. It had become a reckoning about comedy, respect, and the hidden power games behind late-night television. Some say Stallone exposed a toxic culture. Others think it was the perfect storm of ego and timing, but one truth stood. Above the noise, in a world built on applause and spotlight, one man dared to walk away. And that silence spoke louder than any punchline ever could. So what do you think really happened that night? Was it a raw moment of truth, or a perfectly timed rebellion against Hollywood's fake smiles and scripted charm? Either way, it exposed something bigger than a late-night feud. It revealed what happens when pride, power, and respect collide on live television. If this story pulled you in, if you felt that tension, that spark, that shift, then don't just scroll past. Hit that like button right now. It tells us you believe moments like these deserve to be seen, heard, and talked about. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Was Stallone right to walk out? Or should he have stayed and fought back on camera? Whose side are you on? The legend who's earned his place? Or the host who pushed too far? And if you want more cinematic breakdowns like this, the real stories hiding behind Hollywood stage lights, then subscribe and turn on the bell icon. Because next time we're going even deeper. Every story has a truth. Every moment has a cost. Stay curious, stay bold, and remember, the cameras may stop rolling, but the story never really ends.